Paro Necho made Eliakim the son of Yoshiyahu king in place of Yoshiyahu his father, and changed his name to Jehoiakim. But he took Jehoahaz away, and he came to Mithraim and died there. And Jehoiakim gave the silver and the gold to Paro, but he taxed the land to give the money according to the command of Paro. He exacted the silver and the gold of the people of the land, of everyone according to his taxation, to give it to Paro Necho. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Zebidah, the daughter of Pedaiah of Rumah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that his fathers had done. Of the books called Kings, the 2nd, chapter 24. In his days, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babel, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant 3 years. Then he turned and rebelled against him. And Yahweh sent against him bands of the Kashdim, and bands of Haram, and bands of Moab, and bands of the children of Ammon, and sent them against Yehudah to destroy it, according to the word of Yahweh, which he spoke by his servants the prophets. Surely at the command of Yahweh came this upon Yehudah, to remove them out of his sight, for the sins of Manasseh, according to all that he did, and also for the innocent blood that he shed, for he filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, and Yahweh would not pardon. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Yehudah? So Jehoiakim slept with his fathers, and Jehoiachin his son reigned in his stead. And the king of Mithraim came not again any more out of his land, for the king of Babel had taken from the brook of Mithraim to the river Purat all that pertained to the king of Mithraim. Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. And his mother's name was Nehushta, the daughter of Elnathan of Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that his father had done. At that time the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babel, came up to Jerusalem, and the city was besieged. And Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babel, came to the city, while his servants were besieging it. And Jehoiachin, the king of Yehudah, went out to the king of Babel, he and his mother, and his servants, and his princes, and his officers. And the king of Babel took him in the 8th year of his reign, and he carried out thence all the treasures of the house of Yahweh, and the treasures of the king's house, and cut in pieces all the vessels of gold which Shalomo king of Israel had made in the temple of Yahweh, as Yahweh had said. And he carried away all Jerusalem, and all the princes, and all the mighty men of valor, even 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and the smiths. None remained except the poorest sort of the people of the land. And he carried away Jehoiachin to Babel, and the king's mother, and the king's women, and his officers, and the chief men of the land, carried he into captivity from Jerusalem to Babel. And all the men of might, even 7,000, and the craftsmen and the smiths 1,000, all of them strong and apt for war. Even them the king of Babel brought captive to Babel. And the king of Babel made Mattaniah, Jehoiachin's father's brother, king in his stead, and changed his name to Thedkiyahu. Thedkiyahu was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hamital, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. For through the anger of Yahweh did it become in Jerusalem and Jehudah, until he had cast them out from his presence. And Thedkiyahu rebelled against the king of Babel. And it was in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, that Nabuchodonosor, king of Babel, came, he and all his army, against Jerusalem, and encamped against it, and they built forts against it round about. So the city was besieged to the 11th year of King Thedkiyahu. On the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine became mighty in the city, so that there was not bread for the people of the land. Then a breach was made in the city, and all the men of war fled by night by the way of the gate between the two walls, which was by the king's garden. Now the Kasdim were against the city round about. And the king went by the way of the Arabah. But the army of the Kasdim pursued after the king, and overtook him in the plains of Jericho, and all his army was scattered from him. Then they took the king, and carried him up to the king of Babel to Riblah, and they gave judgment upon him. And they slew the sons of Thedkiyahu before his eyes, and blinded the eyes of Thedkiyahu, and bound him in fetters, and carried him to Babel.